suspicious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello, welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and proper football's back. You know, there's no more international nonsense for a few more months, and League One action. Well, League One action for proper teams rather than internationals is back this weekend. Excuse me, I'm not well today, so my voice is bad and my coughing fits are everybody, but it's fine. It's remote, innit? This is one of the benefits of being remote that I can't infect you too. So
I'll say we'll have disinfectant going your way if we were sat together.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we have Vic and Denny with us. Thank you for joining us, boys.
Hello.
Hello.
So let's first of all, as we do every week, shall we have a quick word from our sponsor, Manscaped?
This video is sponsored by Manscaped. Manscaped are the best at below the waist grooming. Over 4 million lads and lasses use Manscaped worldwide, including yours truly. Now, Manscaped have given me an early look-see at their latest trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0, and I tell you what, it is some quality stuff. They've also given me a look-see at the ball deodorant and the ball toner, which you use for your... Use code NYT for 20% off and free shipping at the checkout when you visit manscaped.com. Now, back to your regularly scheduled programme.
Thank you very much, Danny, for that. So before we get into the Cambridge preview proper, let's talk about the official FA Cup draw results. We knew we were going to get Stockport or Bolton Wanderers.
Come on then, please. Quickly.
They played out an absolute blinder of a game on Wednesday night, Mick. 5-3 in the end. A proper cup tie. Genuinely, one of the best games I've seen in a long time. So good.
Yeah, it was exciting and interesting to watch. I think it lacked quality.
Oh,
just about everywhere on pitch, which is probably why it was such a high-scoring game. But yeah, it was great to watch. Good fun to watch. It was typical cup time, wasn't it? And a local derby as well. So it kind of added that little bit more spice to it. So yeah, it was good to watch, but not, like I say, not massive on quality really, was it?
No, Ian never reckons that Bolton are the best team in League One. Who've just shipped 5 to a non-league team. I know they're not a proper non-league team like Wrexham and a couple of other teams, but they are still a non-league team. They're still two tiers below. So that's a concern for Bolton. I know Bolton started pretty well, but putting our League One hats on for a minute, mate, that's going to be a concern. That's going to be a massive concern to Bolton. The way they played and defended in that game is for me. If that were us, I'd be concerned about it.
Yeah, very much so. I don't know whether they came into the game thinking that they were just going to walk it. And then obviously, 5 minutes in, the 2 goals up, and I don't know whether that was their view or what. I don't know. But from that moment on, from that point on, they just didn't seem to be able to keep ball. Neither team did. It was. I've seen a couple of comments on social media today saying it was like watching an under-9s game. It genuinely was. Not only because of the way that they couldn't play football, but I don't know. I'm not convinced that Bolton are the best team in this division. I'm not convinced by that claim at all.
No, I'm not convinced either. Danny, it was, like Mick says, the style was not there, but it had everything a cup tie wanted. The atmosphere was amazing. Both teams really wanted to win. They were both a bit crap. It's just the ingredients you want for a really good game of football.
Yeah, it was. And I mean, I sat down to watch it with my mum because she was in from work last night. And when Bolton went 2-0 up, it's like, this is going to go the way that we don't want it to. It's just going to be a walkover for one team. But to see Stockport come back into it, I mean, all I can say is fair play to them. They had that desire, which slightly worries me. For when they come to New York, they've got that desire to win, whether or not that's because it's a local derby or because it's like big club, small club thing, and like we want to do a number on you. But second half, it was just all Stockport. Stockport was the only team that could really keep hold of the ball, and that's saying something because they lost the ball quite a lot. But you'll be pleased to know that I have actually made notes on the game. I'm being a professional this evening. And both of Stockport's like game-changing goals, if you like, when it came to 2-3 and then 4-3, both came down the left-hand side. So you could say that's their dangerous element, if you like, which is good news for us because we've got Wes Harding and Chio there. So,
Well, that's it. If we need to go defensive, we've got Wes Harding. If we want to go attacking, you've got Chio. Bring it on.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is a side point, Mick, but it's quite interesting watching games like that because you get Martin Keown, for example, being the co-commentator. And he's got to pretend like he knows what he's talking about. Yeah. And he clearly hasn't got a clue. He'll just say something and I'll go, he's done really well, of course, all the time. Just makes it sound like he's a bit knowledgeable. I don't like Martin Keown, but I felt a little bit sorry for people like that doing non-league games.
I don't mind him, to be honest, because at least he's not gone down the conventional, they're going really direct or the very physical route. You know what I mean? True. The standard sort of, the standard nonsense that they usually spout out. So, and it were on BBC, and commentary on BBC, whilst it's not great, it's I don't know how many million times better than it is on ITV and Sky now. So, you know, it's not like me to compliment BBC. So, you know, they must be doing something right.
Yeah. Well, you just tell me you don't like Sam Matterface on ITV. I don't.
Oh, mate.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, absolute garbage. I mean, that other lad who were on before him, Glenn, whatever his name was.
Clive Tilsley.
I'm thinking of Glenn Tilbrook out at Squeeze. That's showing me age now, isn't it? Clive Tilsley, he was garbage and all. Both have got a Till in name. That's where it came from. I don't know. I'm old, mate. I don't know what my name is half the time.
As always, we are live through YouTube, Facebook, and I think on Twitter as well. So if you want to chuck us some comments in, some people already have. John C. Is good evening to us. Mick Twig thinks we're going to get 6 against Stockport. I like your I think. Ardak, it was a fantastic atmosphere in an old style ground. Can't beat the old grounds, means. Yeah, I watched it with my wife, and I said to him, Stockport's brilliant because it's so old school. It's got 4 different stands, and they're all 4 different shapes and sizes. And it doesn't make any sense if you know what I mean. Those grounds shouldn't create atmosphere, but they do. There's something about it just creates it.
Absolutely. Yeah, good ground to visit. Nice ground to visit. Enjoyed it when I've been there before. So not that we're going this time.
Hopefully not. It's a shame it's not their place. I wouldn't mind going to Stockport. I've been a few times a while ago. They'll be added to a strange list of unique clubs that have played against Rotherham United at all 3 grounds that we've played at.
Really?
Yeah. So they've played at Millmore several times. Played at Don Valley when they were on their way down, and now they're going to play at New York Stadium. So there's a nonsense stat for you.
You love it.
I do quite like it. I thought of that while laid in bed last night as well. Research, just randomly thought of it. That's how sad I am. Next 2 weeks on Saturday, they will come to New York Stadium. Let's briefly talk about the match tickets. That's caught a little people up in anger, Danny. Anger might not be the right word. We're not charging full price, but the price tickets will be £18, which is, I think, 4 or 5 quid below what it would be for an all league game. I can see why they've done it. What are your thoughts on that, Danny?
Well, first of all, I just want to apologise for my unprofessionalism with having to dart off. The dog needed to go outside and was squeaking like one of his toys at the back door, so I apologise. But yeah, with the tickets, I can understand why some people are, I don't know, even annoyed doesn't seem like the right word. It's just a bit of a complaint, really, that the tickets are more expensive than the Bromley game. Now, I can understand the Bromley game being cheap because they didn't bring many, and we weren't really expected to bring that many either. But I think the club have looked at it and gone, well, if we get Bolton, they'll bring a fair few. If we get Stockport, they'll bring a fair few. So we'll charge them more money because it correlates home and away with ticket price. So it might just be a money thing to try and get a bit more money out of the Stockport fans. But yeah, I can understand the frustration at it. But at the end of the day, if you can afford it, you can go. If not, then, unlucky. and I know that's a very savage way of looking at it. But yeah, I think it's more for the benefit of the club because the gate receipts are being split between Rotherham, Stockport, and the FA. So that's probably why they've bumped up a little bit because there's going to be more people there. I can understand it, but it's not that much more, which is a very Tory view of it.
Yeah, it's only City. What is it? 12 quid for the Papa John's game, or 10 quid for the Papa John's game. So it's only 6 or 8 quid more. I say only. But there is a strange thing, Mick, where Stockport are probably going to bring more than Bolton would have done. Stockport are 2 divisions low, but this is the only chance they get to play teams like us and Bolton is these, and they take it seriously. So why would they not follow the team?
Well, apparently, according to Wickham, we're a massive club, aren't they? So, you would expect them to come to a massive club's ground and bring a lot of supporters. I don't know. I can. I mean, ultimately, I can't. I'm struggling a little bit with people moaning and groaning about the price. The club are not themselves. They've proved over the years we're not a club that's going to try and profiteer from our supporters. We're not run by a Chancery charging 40 quid for away supporters to get in. You know what I mean? So the club will have done their sums, and based on the fact that, like you said, we only get a third of the ticket price because 1/3 goes to the away side, the rest goes to FA to pay for their yachts and stuff. I don't know. It is difficult, and I understand financially. It's not easy for a lot of people. But I don't blame the club for setting the prices where they set them. They've obviously set them at what they consider to be the right price in order to make some money out of it, because ultimately that's what they're there for.
Yeah, it is. And if you don't want to pay that much, you can always go see us play Port Vale on the Tuesday night in the Papa John's, because that is only, I think, a tenner. So
it should be a great atmosphere against Stockport.
It should be a
decent following from decent Millers following turning up. It should be a really, really good atmosphere.
I mean, for some Millers, it'll be the first time they've seen us play Stockport. I mean, I know I'm a bit of a late arrival to this thing because of my own financial issues, but I've never seen us play Stockport, so that's one of the reasons I'm going. I want to see what Stockport are about and what their fans are like. I just caught the tail end of before I came back. It would have been nice to go to a different ground and go to Edgeley Park, but the positive side of it, we've seen what the home atmosphere is like at Edgeley Park, and I'm thankful we're playing them at home first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So we're not going to replay from that because that'll be on telly again. It'll all go wrong. It'll all go badly wrong. Mark Gamble's with us tonight. Good evening, fellas. He noticed 2 things that we have clubs have in common, and that's Danny Bagheera. They have a stand named after him. He's a club legend at Stockport County. Their podcast is named after Danny Bagheera as well. Their club podcast. Mick, Danny Bagheera.
Yeah, I remember him. Definitely.
Anything positive?
Yeah. I just, it's at a time that it's sort of, I kind of blocked out my memory a little bit because, but yeah, I mean, I don't remember anything bad about Danny when he was at our place. So yeah, no issues with him.
Let's get Trevor Berry on, because when I briefly spoke to Trevor Berry, I don't think he was a fan of Danny Bagheera.
No, I don't think he was it?
We'll have to get him back on, hopefully, at some point.
Did he bin him off?
He did.
Trevor Berry, I can't remember.
I think he did, yeah. So I've been meaning to speak to see if he'll come back on. So that's reminded me. I shall message Trevor Berry this week and see if we can get him back on. So where are we? Another comment. If I remember right, we played Stockport the first match after we won the Autoglass Trophy, which is good omen. Yes, it will be a good omen. With our cup run still to go. Shall we move on to Cambridge United, who are coming to town on Saturday afternoon? It's going to be on paper, Danny, and Ben will be screaming at his screen. On paper, we should be fine. Cambridge are on a little bit of a patchy patch, having just got promoted. We should be okay.
Yeah. If I was a betting man, I'd put on for us to win and to at least score 2. But that's how betting companies make the money off football, because it never really goes quite according to plan, does it? Cambridge coming into this game with a 4-1 league defeat to MK Dons, and MK Dons just ravaged them in that game. Balls over the top, cutting through the defence. It was more or less easy for them, and we beat MK 3-0. But they have had a little bit of an uplift by beating Northampton 3-1. And two of their goals were scored in very similar flashing. Ball to the edge of the box, a quick ball in, and then a layoff, and then they've had a shot and scored. So that seems to be the way they played against Northampton. However, they are quite susceptible to a set piece because they conceded from a set piece. Granted, it were a consolation, but that route one free kick into the area, someone's header, and then it goes in. So that could be one of the ways we exploit them. Or it could be pace down their left flank with Chio, because when I was on their podcast, in the green room, shall we say, their main weak point, if you like, is their left hand side. So if we've got pace on the right hand side, then that might give Chio a lot of luck down that side, and then he can get a ball into the box and possibly bump up his assist level a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully. Can you imagine thinking, do you know what's weak about my team, left-hand side? Do you know who we've gone up against? Gio or Benny? Oh, no. We recorded before Chio scored, Vic, at the weekend. Yeah. We recorded during the game, and we all went and watched it, and Chio scored. We could have timed that worse, to be fair, but no, he'll be buzzing, won't he? You can just imagine he were already in good form before he left. He's gone away and played twice, fantastically, got his goal for his country. He must be riding as high as he's ever ridden.
Yeah, I mean, one, he's got to be careful there, and he needs to drop him. For me, I think we need to. We need to drop him and just get him out of the spotlight, because he's got a lot of attention, and quite rightly so, over these last couple of weeks. But rightly so, because he's been excellent for Ireland. But even playing for Ireland, like we've said before with Chio, he's still a work in progress, and he genuinely is. He's still got a lot of work to do before he becomes that player that's capable of playing at a much higher level than he is at the moment. But he's definitely going to be there sooner or later. So yeah, we're going to struggle to keep hold of him. But for me, let's drop him. Just rest the lad. He needs just sit him out. Yeah. No, I mean, if they've got problems down their left hand side, it's not great. Not great news for him, that really, is it?
Not really, no. No, definitely not. The one negative, I think the only person that will be missing actually on Saturday, well, other than Angus MacDonald, is Michael Smith. Banned. I saw the tweet from Paul Davis earlier. That's the first time he's not been in the squad since he signed for us in 2017, which is just ridiculous. It shows how Paul One trusts him. But that points also, Danny, that he is going to be a huge loss for us on Saturday. Yeah,
I think so. And he's been in the squad for just over 4 years. Imagine going 4 years never missing a match day squad through League Cup, I presume families as well. So that is some stat to hold. I'd love to know who was the last person to have that long of a stint in the Rotherham match day squad. I might be looking at Paul Hurst potentially. With that big of a run. But we'll leave the elves at the advertiser to work that one out. But yeah, Smith will be a big loss. His physical presence up front may draw in a little bit of a weakness for us, but we do have very good backup in Coyote, Greg, who I presume will start, and Coyote as well, who will probably come off the bench for one of them. So yeah, it's a loss, like you said, but it's not an overly worrying loss. It's not like he's the only person who scored goals for us this season. He scored the majority of them, don't get me wrong. But we have goals elsewhere. We can get goals out of Wiles, Grigg, Ladipo. He's in a bit of a green patch at the minute. Maybe Coyote will score his first one, hopefully. You never know. Yeah, big loss, but not a overly concerning one, I think.
I suspect Michael Smith will be having his fingers crossed that any goals we score on Saturday if we do score, assuming that we do, will come from midfield. I'm sure he'll be hoping for that because he's not having his place back at the moment. You know, Freddie and Grigg to now a goal apiece on Saturday, and Smith is not back in squad. He's not getting his shirt back, which is ridiculous but fantastic at the same time.
Yeah.
It is, and I'm just thinking about the fact that he's not missed a squad in that long, and we don't really think about this, but that's a massive sign to his fitness. You know, he's keeping his body in a right shape, and he's not a 21-year-old kid. He is 30 years old. He's played a significant amount of games in his career, so to keep himself in a position where he is available for every single game is, again, we've talked about hats off to Michael Smith on about 50,000 occasions this season. This is another occasion where you say that's fantastic that he has managed to do that fitness-wise and skill-wise.
100%.
Do you think it's Grigg and Freddie to start Mick as well, or do you think Curley's got a chance?
I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one. I suspect it will be Freddie and Will Grigg. I can't see any reason why he wouldn't do that. And then JJ will be on sometime in second half for Will Grigg probably, or possibly for Freddie, depending on how it's going. But yeah, I suspect those are the two that'll start, Freddie and Grigg.
Fair enough. Where else we got? Vickers is probably going to start in goal. You'd assume so. Matic's back. Matic is back in training, so there's a chance. It may be a bit too soon for him to start. Then he'll be ready for the squad. You would assumed, but there's no reason to change back three, I suppose, is there? You know, Woody, Icky, and Harding, you would assume would still be standard back three as things stand.
Yeah, if you were to look at how I've done in the league, I'd say why change a winning formula? But obviously, one, you've seen him in training and we haven't. There could be something that's come up or yet to come up. But yeah, we've got a full hat, if you like, to pick names from, apart from Angus and Smith, which is good because Lindsay's come back in very good time to say how seriously he was injured, which is great to see. Wiles is back, Matic's back, Adoffin's back. So yeah, I'll just leave it to Paul Warren and just go, right, that's your problem. You'll deal with it. You start slamming doors and ripping up bits of paper and spreading around your house and all that lot. It's to have a full hat to pick from with our depth level. It's great to see, but must be a very frustrating, probably Thursday afternoon, evening for Paul Warren. But I'm glad we've got that issue because I'd rather have that issue rather than the same 11 all the time and then have a weakened backup, if you like. But yeah, glad to see everyone's back, which is great.
Yeah, the two main areas of contention for selection are the left-hand side of the wing-back position, left wing-back, and the central midfield three with Jamie Lindsay being back. Let's start with the left wing-back position first. Mick Bowler obviously came on against Bromley, not starting the game. You've got Miller, who should be fit. Matic is fit. You could play Matic there, sort of, if you wanted to. Maybe not as mobile as you want. Would you go? I'm a fan of Miller. I want to see Miller, but that's because I want to attack. I want to go for it. You know what I mean? That's my non-manager head on. It's sort of please play Miller.
Yeah, we've got Ferguson back as well, obviously.
Ferguson.
Yeah. So in terms of that position, that position that we've really, really struggled in for a few seasons, and Joe Matic's been the stalwart. He's number 4 on the list of 4, isn't he? It is, yeah. For me, he is anyway. Bowler, I love the bloke. I think he's going to be a right player for us. I really, really do. And I think he's more than competent, far more than competent at this level. But like you, I think Miller has just got that edge on him at the moment because he's got the experience. He's got that attacking mindset more so than Bowler. And Shane Ferguson as well. He's just steady, isn't he? Steady away. So he's going to do you a job. I don't know. Miller for me. Miller because I want to. I just want to attack. I want some goals out of it, but. I don't know, mate. It's so difficult, isn't it? And what a position to be in. We're 14, 15 games into the season and we've got one player out that out of the squad through either injury or / illness. That's it. You know, he's got a full squad to pick from. It's remarkable. That's obviously not going to be the same throughout the season, but you know, if we can just keep that injury / illness list down to 1 or 2 at any one time, that would be an amazing achievement. And it's just a credit to the fitness regime and how fit this squad are. That if they do get injured, the recovery times are pretty short. A la Jamie Lindsay, like you've just pointed out there. He's been out with an hamstring and it doesn't seem 2 minutes. I'm sure it does to him, but to us, certainly to me anyway, it doesn't seem it's 2 minutes since he was out, and he's not going to get his place back.
No, possibly not. It's also down to rotation as well. Not playing Chio every single 90 minutes for every single minute of the game, for an example. Miller's obviously having his minutes managed. Ferguson's similar. The only sort of players that we're sort of wringing the necks of is the current midfield 3, Wiles, Rathbone, Barlaser, and Michael Smith. Now, we know Michael Smith can take it. That's just who he is as a physical specimen. He seems to be able to take that. Obviously, we don't know much. We don't know about Rathbone's history and things like that. But you assume he can take it. You assume Wiles can take it. You assume Barlaser. But even those have been rotated. Danny, whenever he can, he'll bring Rathbone off after an hour, or bring Wiles off after. He tried resting Wiles against Bromley, and that's why we've got so many players fit. Because every cup game, it's a different 11. And I haven't mentioned Reg as well, bringing Reg in and things like that. It's the rotation must be. From an idiot's point of view, it must be a reason why we've kept so many fit as well.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to play roll-on, roll-off subs like we used to at school, we'd be top of league easily. But yeah, like you say, with the midfield 3, they seem to be the more go-to in terms of playing more 90 minutes. And that's probably because Lindsay has been out and Dauphin seems to be... No disrespect to him or anything, but seems to be like fourth choice, even when Lindsay was injured. And he tried to play him in the cup game and he got concussion. Just glad he's all right. But like I said, we brought Wiles on, and to have someone like Wiles just waiting in the wings and to put in a positive performance and then score, it's testament to depth. We'll keep banging on the door about it's all about depth, and it is. The depth level is incredible. But I think it is also because a lot of the players have their origins in lower league and more physical leagues. Like Rathbone is League One, born and bred effectively with Rochdale. So he knows how to take in it and just carry on with it. Same with Wiles coming through our academy, same with Smith. All these players who can just take big hits and carry on have all had their origins in more physical leagues. Even with the Dauphin and Miller, they can take big hits because they've been in Scotland. The only one who I think can't really take a massive hit is Barlaser, but that's because he's a more technical player. He's not a physical player. Yeah. And even then, he can take an hit and still keep going. For that matter, it's just because he's from Newcastle. I'm not sure. So, in midfield... Sorry, mate, carry on.
I was just going to say the physical side of Barlaser's game this season has been massively improved.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, you could say that's his loans down to lower league with Accrington. But yeah, that midfield, any team that sees those 3 on the team sheet and then sees the players who are on the bench as cover, it must instill some element of intrepidation to see those 3 players and then those 2 or 3 other players waiting to come on the pitch just in case. It must make you go, we're in for a midfield battle today, boys.
Yeah, one of the few teams that when they make a sub, you're not definitely weakening the team. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's an improvement. When you mentioned Barlaser's physicality, I wonder if he's learned a little bit from Wing last season, because Wing was a little bit more aggressive than Barlaser. That's one of the areas. That's why Wing played so many games more than Barlaser last season, because he was much more aggressive. I think is the right word. And I think maybe that's because you can see that in Barlaser. You're absolutely right. He is more aggressive. There's more physicality about him. And I think that's possibly where he's not learned it from, but sort of taken note from.
Yeah. Yeah, and because Wing isn't playing that aggressive role at Chef Wednesday, maybe that's why he's dropped down the pecking order to effectively being a cup starter rather than a regular starter.
You know what? I'd snap your hand off for him. I'd have snapped your hand off for him start of the season. I would. I thought he would a man. And nah.
Listen,
Rathbone over wing any day at week now.
We had this conversation. I don't know whether it was on the podcast or off the podcast, but I always felt there was something not right about Lewis Wing. Something just didn't feel right. He just didn't fit for me. And he's proven it. He's proven himself why he didn't fit with us and why he didn't fit, crucially, why he didn't fit at Middlesbrough as well. There's something there that there is an issue with Lewis Wing, whether it be his attitude or whatever. I don't know what it is, but we dodged the bullet by not signing him. In my view, turns out. I'm not convinced how serious we were about it, to be honest.
Well, we'll see. We'll see when his contract runs out. Let's find out.
Yeah.
Ian Bradley's with us a bit late to the pie. So what we're going to do now is take a break away from talking about Rotherham United, and we're going to talk about Cambridge United. So we've got Jordan from Under the Abbey Stand joining us. Thank you for joining us. Can you hear us, Jordan? I'm gonna let you and Danny talk these questions because I've strained my voice at the minute.
Oh, good work, this man.
Yeah, currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. This is not ideal. So bear with me. Can you hear us now, Jordan?
You're on mute, Jordan.
You're on mute now. You have to unmute yourself.
It's a good job this isn't live, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had like my mic and everything plugged in, but obviously didn't like it. So
okay,
we're all good now, though.
Yeah, we're in. Thank you for joining us. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. Thank you very much for having me. It feels a bit weird actually, because obviously we play you Saturday, and then I feel like we play you again quite quickly, right? It's before Christmas is the return leg, right?
Yeah, less than a month, 18th of December.
Yeah.
Month today.
So yeah,
you'll be fed up with the sight of us soon.
So let's start. What we always ask is, what was the pre-season expectations? Obviously, Cambridge just coming up, losing the main man, the main goal source last season. What was the aim? Was it just you've come up to survival, or was there a bigger aim than that?
No, you're spot on there, Matt. It was stay up at all costs, and if it came down to a last-minute goal off someone's backside on the last game of the season, then so be it. I think I don't know if you read or listened to much pre-season, but a lot of people not only tipped us to be in the bottom four, but actually be bottom of the pile. And quite understandably so. We lost a guy who scored 34 goals last season. I think any team would struggle with that. We didn't really bring in any sort of household League One Championship names in the summer. Our manager is 36, 37, hasn't managed at this level before. Is only going into his second full season as a manager. So I could understand why, from an outsider's perspective, you would look at that and say, yeah, they're going to struggle. I think Cambridge fans, whilst sort of appreciating that on one hand, also had a little bit more optimism, just sort of experiencing the season that we did last season, the morale and the ability to sort of get results from nowhere. And so I think Hughes fans were more positive, but weren't naive to think that we wouldn't be in that bottom sort of 6 or 7 clubs come the end of the season. Obviously, we're 12th at the moment, which is a long way off that, a good 8 places above where I thought we'd be. But I've got a feeling we will slowly draw ourselves back down towards that bottom 8 before the end of the season.
I think when you get promoted, it's key. We've suffered this. We've done this a lot. When you go up, those first couple of months are a really good time to pick up points. If you can ride that wave a little bit, and with you guys getting promoted and the fans being back in, is that a fair thing to say that it was a key time to pick up the points and find yourself in an okay position now?
Yeah, absolutely. it's funny you mentioned about the fans being back in. We had we're one of the few clubs that did trials of sort of small attendances before, well, about this time last year, actually, just before Christmas, and it coincided with our worst run of 4 more seasons. So make of that what you will. It was a good thing we all got booted back out, and that's why we went up. But yeah, I think what's been really interesting so far this season is we started really brightly. Then we had kind of like this patch where I don't think we won in 7 or 8 games. We drew quite a few, which is kind of a common theme. We draw a lot of games we're hard to beat. But recently we've won 2 on the bounce, and they were quite significant wins. When I say they're against Wimbledon and Morecambe, you might be wondering why they're significant, since they're not exactly huge clubs, but they're significant for us because up until that point, our season so far had seen us do really well against the bigger teams or teams that are going to be or were higher up the table. But we really struggled against those who respectfully are a similar size and profile to us and teams that are expected to be in the bottom 8. So we lost to Gillingham, we nearly lost to Crewe, we couldn't beat Fleetwood, teams like that. And so actually there was quite a few Hughes fans who were thinking, well, it's all well and good getting points against your Plymouths and your Oxfords who are going to be in the playoffs, but if you can't beat those sort of teams in and around you, you're going to struggle. So they were quite significant that we've sort of turned that corner. So yeah, it was great getting those early points, Matt, but it's been really great recently to actually turn some of those draws into wins against teams that we should be beating. And our managers has said a couple of times, League One essentially is 2 different leagues, really. There are those that are going to be pushing for the playoffs and the autos. And I think there's a good 10 or 11 teams that will be in there, yourselves included. And then there's a group of sort of 8 or 9 of us that are sort of going to be at the other end. So, really significant wins recently.
Yeah, I think you're right about the split of the division. I think, it does look that way. Talk about your manager, Mark Bonner. I had never heard of him before until researching you coming on here. Looking now, he hasn't got a footballing career as far as I can see. Where's he come from?
It was really funny last season. He didn't have a Wikipedia page, and quite often in opposing teams' sort of match day programs, virtual programs as it was last year, they referenced a former footballer called Mark Bonner, who was a completely different guy. So our manager profile for these away teams was the wrong guy. The Mark Bonner story is brilliant. I told you I would sneak in a reference to the 6-1 win from the early 40s. That was the last time we were in League One, and at the time, Mark Bonner was a season ticket holder. A young lad sort of stood on the terraces. He didn't have a career as a professional footballer. He left school and basically wanted to work in football, and he got a job sort of, after school, after college, in one of the very most kind of sort of basic youth programs that we offered, like the summer schools. And then basically it's just worked his way up the club from there. When we dropped out of the league a few years ago, we lost our funding for our academy. So he lost his job essentially and went over to Southend for a few years, then came back. And then, has worked his way up from being in charge of the under 18s to sort of the reserve team, to then being sort of an assistant in the first team. I think he's assisted 2 or 3 previous managers and ended up getting the job full-time himself. At the time when he got appointed, everyone just sort of rolled their eyes and went, they've gone with the cheap option here.
Well, as you do. Yeah.
As you do, yeah. And do you know what? Whatever he goes on to accomplish for us, whether we stay up this year, whether we go down, whether he moves on, whatever, we'll always have that story that one of our own, a fan, got us a promotion last year. So it's really, it's heartwarming.
That's a great, it's a great story.
It's a fantastic story,
yeah.
It's interesting that you say about...
We think we're lucky about having Warney and he bleeds red and white, and that's even better.
Actually,
took the words right out of my mouth, Matt.
I'd listened to Mark Bonner's press conference earlier, and he was asked about your manager, and sort of there was a comparison there about sort of, age, but also sort of connection to the club. And Mark Bonner was sort of full of praise for your man in charge. So I'm sure they'll have a good chat at the end of the game on Saturday.
No, absolutely. What can we expect from Cambridge on Saturday? I hope you're not going to say you're going to sit in against us, because those are the teams we tend to struggle against.
Yeah, I wish I came bearing good news. We've played a couple of different formations and styles this season. The one that we played predominantly, and the one that I can't see us not using on Saturday, is exactly what you're fearing there. It'll be a 4-5-1 out of possession, quite a low block, sort of 3 men in the middle there, trying to sort of trying to be as compact as possible. I think it will definitely happen because we should have played that way last Saturday against Milton Keynes, and for some reason we went with a more ambitious lineup, and it resulted in us losing 4-1. So I think we've learned from that one. So I think we'll go back to that sort of that formation that has done pretty well so far. We've gone to Plymouth and Portsmouth and not got beat playing that sort of formation. So it might not be the prettiest on Saturday, but I think it's our best sort of chance against the sort of the better teams in the league and the teams that are going to want to sort of boss possession.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Ian Bradley in the comments says, Cambridge can't be as hard to watch as Wickham. No. I don't know if you guys have played Wickham yet this season.
No, that's our Boxing Day treat.
A treat.
So sorry.
Take leftovers to the stadium.
Yeah. Tell you something. The game against them this season will go down legendary as being one of the worst games of football ever. So that's our view on that. Is there any standout players for Wickham? If there is going to be a threat or a leader in there, who are the main guys?
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. So normally when I get asked this question by opposing fans, there's two names that are my go-to. One is Shiloh Tracy, who's a young sort of wide winger attacking forward, really pacey, has really sort of found himself this season. He was released by Spurs in the summer. We picked him up. And the other name I give is the Irish Messi, Wesley Houlihan. But the thing is, Shiloh Tracy's injured, so he's not going to play Saturday. And I don't think he's going to play Houlihan. I don't think he'll fit the formation that he's going to line up with. So I'll give you those two names. They probably won't play. So I'll throw another couple of sort of more unusual ones in there. I think a really key performance on Saturday could be a guy called Jack Iredale, who is naturally a left back and is a really good attacking left back, but he's played a few positions for us so far this season, and he's playing centre half recently. He played there on Tuesday night because we've got problems at centre half at the moment. Our two most experienced centre halves are out injured, so we've kind of got two young lads, Masterson, who's on loan from QPR and got pulled off at half-time against Milton Keynes. That's how bad he was doing. And another sort of early 20s lad who was released from Spurs again in the summer. So he could be an interesting one. If he has a good game, then we might stand a chance. But my worry is we are looking quite vulnerable at centre-back. So that'll be a name to sort of keep an eye on. And another one is our captain, Paul Digby, who is sort of that kind of sort of Makelele, sits in front of the back four type defensive midfielder role. He's got so much energy, and he'll be really crucial for us in terms of sort of defending against you guys, because you strike me as quite a pacey team, and it sort of will get us quite quickly. So I think he'll be quite crucial for us avoiding defeat. So up top, I guess I've got to give you some sort of attacking name. I'd probably say Big Joe Ironside. He'll play up front on his own. He does the lone striker role really, really well. He was the unsung hero last year. Like his partner, Paul Mullin, got 34 goals, but really it was Ironside that was taking the hits and sort of allowed that space for Mullin to sort of, probably have a better season than he would have ever imagined. I think if you're to have, I think one of the things that you could benefit from and have success on Saturday is how well you marshal Joe Ironside, and really our whole sort of game plan in that sort of 4-5-1 to 4-3-3 is how quickly we can get up and support him and get the ball off him. So if we can be restricted by you guys sort of, getting the ball back before we sort of break forward, I think you'll be throwing it straight back at us. So you could have some success there.
Just to interrupt with a bit of trivia.
They're going to bring us some breaking news.
Now, Joe Ironside is the grandson of Roy Ironside, who was our goalkeeper in the 1961 League Cup final.
Really?
That's brilliant.
Yeah, there you go.
My only other trivia on him was that he's good mates with Harry Maguire from the youth team days, but yours is way better.
Yeah, I've got an old programme somewhere in the house, and it says Ironside. It was a game he played against Barnsley, which, as it happens, was his next club. And it's like, I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere in the Football League. So I searched it, and it's like, oh, it's Joe Ironside's granddad, and he's at Cambridge. Interesting. So yeah, there you go. That's my contribution.
It was worth it, Danny, or worth waiting for that.
It was worth it. Yeah, I agree. Definitely. Before we finish, Jordan, can we have a score prediction for me, please? To put you on the spot, as we always like to do.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this one. And I was thinking, if we were having this conversation a week ago, before we played Milton Keynes, I would have said undoubtedly Rotherham win. And I still think it probably will be a Rotherham win. But there's a little inkling that makes me sort of doubt that. We've got a really good record under Mark Bonner since he's been in charge of responding well to defeats. Arguably, you could say we've already done that because we played FA Cup replay on Tuesday night and we won. So perhaps we've already had that good bounce back. But there's something there which makes me think it could go one of two ways. It can either finish 1-1 and you'll be complaining to me about how ugly the football was, or we'll go the other way, and I think I'm going to go with this as my prediction. I think it'll be 3-1 to you guys.
I hope you're right. No, you don't. If anybody that wants a bit more Cambridge, if anybody who's watching, listening wants a bit more from your side of preview, where can they find you?
Yeah, it's at Abbey Stand Pod on Twitter. We'll be doing a match preview, like a written one. It will go live on Friday, which is tomorrow. We do a weekly podcast, so we'll review. Yeah, we release it every Monday morning, and it reviews the game before. So our podcast on Monday will have a Cambridge take on the game. We also have a bit of a preview in our most recent pod, which came out on Monday, which you guys helped with, which was very kind of you. So yeah, at Abbey Stand Pod is where you can find out more stuff about us.
Fantastic. Thank you for doing this, Jordan. We very much appreciate it. And good luck, and we'll see you in a month.
Brilliant. Yeah, pleasure. See you again in a few weeks. Take care.
Cheers, Jordan. Thank you.
Bye.
So there we go, Mick. We seem to have lost Danny. Danny seems to have disappeared. Hopefully we'll get him back in a minute.
It's like his dog's chewed through Wi-Fi cable, hasn't it?
Yeah. Interesting stuff. I always rate doing those things because I find it interesting. I like speaking to these guys who do these other things, and I hope people who are watching listening find them interesting as well, as interesting as we do, because we like it.
Yeah, absolutely. It saves us having to do any research, doesn't it?
Correct. I genuinely didn't know where the manager was until today when I thought, Jordan's coming on. I best check.
It's an interesting story. It's an interesting story that though with him in it. You know how he's come through the ranks and has no previous football experience, and maybe they're another one of these clubs that are trying to do things just slightly differently to the way things have been done in the past, and just change things around a bit, change things up a bit, and if it's working, it's going to promote it. New ideas. We all like a few. Some of us like new ideas in workplace. No way. Some of us don't. But good on him.
Yeah, definitely. It was a really great story. Ian Bradley asks, was anybody at the Abbey in the 2001 promotion season when we got hammered 6-1? He was. I wasn't. I don't. Again, that's a game I forgot about until this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. I think it's worth mentioning, Mick, the FA Cup substitution storm that's kicked off in midweek. We had our own. We played Bromley in the first round. They were allowed 7 subs, which was 1 more than they were allowed because they were allowed a concussion sub. Exeter are going to have to replay their 3-0 victory over Bradford because they made 6 subs, because you're allowed to make 5 and not an extra time. I can see how this one's fell through the net, Mick, because in every other competition, you're allowed an extra sub in extra time. And you're allowed 5 subs in normal time. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And you're absolutely right. And this is one of the issues with, changing the rules from sort of season to season. And then you're not only doing that, but you're changing the rules from competition to competition. It's madness. They're all sanctioned by the FA. These competitions ultimately, they're playing under the same rules. It makes no sense to me at all. But also then now we've got a situation for Bradford. It's a 570 mile round trip. It's going to be another midweek game. How can that be right? If it is a mistake by Exeter, which I don't think it is, I think it's a mistake by the officials. The officials, it's something that the officials should be picking up on rather than Exeter themselves. I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? But maybe we should be looking at playing that at a neutral venue, somewhere in between, at least to give Bradford fans a bit of a chance. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
True.
Anyway,
Danny's back.
Hello. No idea what happened.
No. Are you back on your phone now?
Yeah, computer's just gone completely bother. I'm not connecting to internet, so it's like right stuff. I'll use the phone.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I forgot what I was going to say. Is there anything else that we want to cover? I'm sure there is stuff. I can't. Mine's gone completely blank. What else do we need to cover?
I think we're done for the weekend, aren't we? We've got
Ref Watch. Andy Davis. Andy Davis is the referee. He last refereed us in the Championship when we beat Preston 2-1 at home with Matt Crooks with a late winner. I'm going to do the ref watch for Tuesday now.
No.
I am.
No.
I'm going to caveat it.
No, so come on, mate. Listen, Matt. Just let me stop you before we carry on any further. Okay, it's Thursday, Friday tomorrow, last day of week. Then we've got the weekend to look forward to, a game to look forward to, a Grand Prix to look forward to on Sunday. It's going to be a nice weekend. It's going to be a steady weekend. Let's not spoil it on a Thursday night, before it even starts. I think that's out of order, mate.
Let me say, and then I'll give you some hope. Because how Saturday Tuesday games work, the EFL announce their referees list on the Thursday for the Saturday games and the following midweek games. So our referee for Tuesday night against Ipswich is Mr. Gavin Ward. Now, if anybody doesn't know who that is, he was the one that allowed Victor to be stood on in the face by Ched Evans, although he didn't get booked, which I suppose is sort of a punishment, but it's not much. And also he allowed Victor to get knocked out by a cheekbone broken by Carlton Morris in the Barnsley game. Now, what I will add as a caveat to that, this wouldn't be the first time that they had changed their refereeing lineup after the Saturday game. There were a few times last season where we went through, who the referee was going to be, and it was changed. So, Mick, don't worry. It might change. It's fine.
I really need to grow up, don't I? I do. I mean, I'm 56 years old now, and I shouldn't be feeling the way I feel about it. But when I saw that, I was genuinely. This is like a counselling session. I was genuinely angry. And I still am. The man's an absolute liability. We've got a goalkeeper playing for us now who's had 2 potentially career-ending injuries as a direct result that have both gone unpunished by this man. And it's just, honestly, I can't. I'm fuming. I'm fuming. I wish you were at home, because at least I'd be able to vent some anger on him from the stands. But it's not, I know. But yeah, I hope that clown never comes near another Rotherham United game ever again. And I do hope they change. And the problem you've got with him refereeing again the game against Ipswich, they're a big club, aren't they? You know what I mean? So he's obviously going to favour us in that game, isn't he? I wouldn't want to be Josh Vickers If I was Josh Vickers, I'd be limping off after 80 minutes on Saturday. Victor, you can have shirt back.
And let Victor play in a game that he's reffing again.
Yeah. Well, Victor would do it, though. Victor seems like that kind of lad. Whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very, very good point. Andy Davis. I seem to recall the Preston game, which was also, from Victor's point of view, that was Victor's debut. Victor's not going to be playing on Saturday, so a bit pointless stat, but a bit of information, nevertheless. So I think we're done. Danny, Mick, anything else that I need to cover?
A couple of comments on there from one from Bazza about Chio, suggesting would there be any point playing Chio through the middle as Ireland do.
So they play him as the right hand side of the front three. So he still sort of plays as a winger, but it's just more of a forward winger. Danny, thoughts on that? We have to change system, won't we? That's the problem.
Yeah, we'd have to play with 3 up top rather than 2, which would actually take away a striker. So you'd be playing with your 2 wide players and then just your single centre forwards, which is how Ireland play. Like, I know how on a few websites it says you've got a centre forward and the 2 in behind, and in reality they sort of branch out wider in attacking manoeuvres, and that's why Chio's in a more advanced position and more in the box rather than out on the wing like he is with us. So it would require a change of system, but it's good that Chio can still play and understand 2 systems for club and country, which is a good versatility trait that he's got.
Very, very, very good. Mick, thoughts?
Yeah, I just like him where he is. I like him where he is.
Anyway,
I think he's more on that right hand side. I think he's more valuable out there, and I think once he's mastered that art of playing in that position, he's going to be 1, unstoppable, and 2, worth an absolute fortune. And he will master it. There's no question about that.
The thing with Chio, he's got the mentality, the cleverness, the smartness, whatever, of not always trying to beat the man. He doesn't. He can beat the man 95% of the time, but he realizes if he does that, he's going to become predictable. So he'll try and beat the man, but then he'll come inside. He'll pass the ball inside rather than get rid of it. The crossings can come. That's a technical thing, and not a hard technical thing. To be fair, that's going to come. And to be fair, in the past, his crossing has been good. I think he's maybe dipped in his crossing, maybe because he's working on other things. I don't know. But yeah, he's got what he needs. He's got everything he needs. It's just that little bit extra that he's missing, and that would put him into that next category of exceptional footballers, wouldn't it? To be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. And ultimately, what I've got to always remember is that he's crap. He's absolute garbage, and he's getting lots and lots of plaudits all over social media and everything else. But people need to understand that he's a rubbish player, and League One is absolutely his level, and nobody else should even bother looking at him because it's just pointless. Yeah. He'll not do it for you. He'll only ever do it for Warney.
Completely agree. So we're going to wrap that up there. So thank you all for watching and listening. I hope you've all enjoyed it. One last thing, Matt Ardak mentions that he's got a proposal for us to get in touch. If anybody has anything you want to do, get in touch with us on email. Best place to do. rufcpod@gmail.co.uk. I think. No, it's rufcpod@gmail.com. So anything you want to talk to us about, anything you want us to talk about from the podcast point of view, or anything else you want to do or know about, let us know in touch in there as well. We will be back on Sunday night live on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else, as we will look back at Cambridge United and look ahead to Ipswich Town. We'll try and get another scouting report done from the Ipswich side of things. We can find somebody. I hope we can. And we will have a couple of things out next week as well, which will come through. We'll try and find out from Ipswich Town about the COVID protocols that everybody's going to go through on Tuesday. That's one of the most, from our point, the fans' point of view, that's what I want to know. And I won't be going, but for people like Danny, I'd want to know. So hopefully Ipswich fan can shed some light on that for us.
Have I shown my letter off on the podcast
Well,
before? Yeah. Every fan's got one, and it's like, oh, I have 6:30 and the finals are. And from what I've heard, it's a trial that Ipswich have done because they're one of the bigger grounds in the league. They've just chosen a big ground in every league at random to have the COVID protocols just to see how they'd operate on a large attendance scale. But I think Old Trafford do it. I can't think of the one in the Championship that does it, but Portman Road is the one in League One that does it. And that's why they're the only ones that seem to be like Fort Knox, and everybody else is just like, yeah, come in, just remember you have to have your debit card and match your lot.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they enforce it with the home fans. But hopefully we'll find that out. That'll be one of the questions we definitely will ask.
Can I just stick an advert in here? A quick advert. This will probably go down really well. Rotherham band, the Ratons, have got a new album out this week. Kids Off the Estate. It's number 5 at the moment in the iTunes charts. Really? Get out there and buy it. It is absolutely fantastic.
It is. It's very good.
Absolutely
it reminds
fantastic.
Me, Mick might not remember these, but Pigeon Detectives. It's a cross between Pigeon Detectives and Arctic Monkeys. It's a really good mash of the two bands I really, really like.
It's a bit like Arctic Monkeys when they were good, isn't it? Before Arctic Monkeys disappeared up their own backside, it's similar to that sort of stuff. It's excellent, honestly, well worth a listen. So get out there and buy it. The Rotherham band as well, so supporting Rotherham. So,
did you like it just because they mentioned a couple of places in Rotherham? Because I know what you like. Things like
yeah, that's all it were. No, I've listened to it. I really like it. Really, really good album.
Yes,
there's no more in the video, and that's it.
Video as well, exactly. Support local. And they're local, and they're good, very good. I agree, Mick. Good shout out. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe. If you're not watching us on Facebook or Twitter, please go over and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're creeping up the numbers there, and we would appreciate any help anybody can give us with that one. If you're on iTunes, again, make sure you subscribe. Follow us on Spotify, and make sure you give us 5-star rating on iTunes and wherever else. We're high up in the Saudi Arabian charts.
Yes.
In the iTunes charts. So I don't know whether we're making it in these countries or whether there's just one Rotherham fan travelling from country to country. I don't know.
It's me. I've got a VPN.
Yeah.
I just keep logging on and listening to it from different countries. Where do you want to go next?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. Mick, pleasure as always. Danny, a pleasure as always. And we'll see you both on Sunday night. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Ciao.
Freddy's on one-on-one. Freddy's finished shoot. Container shot. Yeah!